So a lot of people have been talking about how mages are too strong in classic WoW. Now it's true that they have a lot of overpowered spells and abilities that let them shine in the game. It's a very common class, in fact I think it's the second most common class next to a warrior. They are kinda like the mana based version of the warrior. So what is it like being a mage in classic WoW? Are they really playing classic WoW on easy mode? I have leveled the mage to 60, done some leveling, done some PvP, and done some raiding. So in this video I'm going to be going over various aspects of the class and determine are mages in classic WoW overpowered. So with that being said, let's get into it. So to start off with is leveling. Now I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar that the world first level 60 is from a mage, and that mage is Joker D. And that is because he used the AoE farming method that has become quite popular recently. In fact, if you go into any low level zone and trying to level up your character, you will inevitably see some mage doing some AoE farming with Blizzard. And yes, the XP per hour is better than a lot of the stuff that you can do otherwise. However, that being said, the mages start out like any other class in the game. You kill 2 or 3 mobs, drink water, and repeat. However, there comes a point when you get Blizzard in combination with the talents that lets you do AoE pulls. Once you get Blizzard at level 20 and put 3 points into improved Blizzard, from then on you never have to do single target leveling again. At that point, you can do AoE farming and get a much better XP per hour than any other class. And this is what Joker D relied on to get the world first 60. However, that is not the fastest way to level up a mage. They are more known for spell cleave. Spell cleave is essentially when you have 4 mages and a priest, and you basically do the same thing that you do with the AoE farming with Blizzard, except it's times 4. And this is absolutely invaluable. The XP per hour you get in a spell cleave group is far superior than anything you can do in the open world, including questing or even AoE farming by yourself. At one point I was getting 45k XP per hour in Scarlet Monastery, and that is using the spell cleave method. I was able to just speed through the levels like it was nothing. So if we are grading the leveling ability of a mage, it would have to be an S. It doesn't get any better than a mage when it comes to leveling. Another aspect to a class is utility. And it goes without saying that the mage has some of the best utility spells in the game. Now what I mean by utility spells aren't necessarily spells that you use in combat, but things that your class has that is kind of an additional bonus. For example, the rogue has stealth, which is a utility spell. You can avoid a lot of fights and death because you have stealth. And in terms of class defining abilities, mages have some really nice stuff. For instance, the teleport and portal spells basically allow you to transport all around the map, which just makes playing the game that much faster, to be honest. Once you hit around level 40ish, you get all of the teleport spells that allow you to go to any city you want. So essentially a mage has 3 hearthstones all across the map. It is just so convenient. It's like a teleport hack, to be honest. So much so that the hearthstone for a mage doesn't really need to be in a city. In fact, I have my hearthstone set in Gadgetzan because I've basically got the entire WoW map covered. If I want to go to the northern part of Kalimdor, I go to Darnassus. If I want to go to the southern half, I would go to Gadgetzan. If I want to go to somewhere in the north of the Eastern Kingdoms, I would go to Ironforge. And for the southern half, I would teleport to Stormwind. In this sense, I can take a Flight Master from any of these points and pretty much arrive at any location in Classic WoW within a matter of minutes. That is the power of the mage. Whereas other people need to take these long treks with boats and stuff and zeppelins, and it honestly takes like 15 minutes to get to a place if you're not nearby it. Not only that, but you also have portals, which is the same as teleport, but anybody in your group can do it. So you can sell this to people for a fee and you can make some gold like that. I've had countless times where people would pay me to create a portal to take them to a city. Another aspect to the mage is free food and drink. Level 45 water and food costs quite a lot. And it really racks up. Like, a lot of people don't think about it, but buying food and water from a vendor is really expensive when you stack it up. And in the long term, you're probably spending like over 100 gold on food and water from a vendor. The mage doesn't have to deal with that, and that is not just for max levels. That is going all throughout the leveling process. You never have to buy a bottle of water or some meat from a vendor ever. So playing a mage, you by definition just save money. Not only that, but you have access to the level 55 water, which is significantly faster than the 45 water that you can buy from a vendor. You also have the mana ruby, which is basically like the warlock's health stone, but it's for mana, which is way more valuable. The mana ruby can be used every 2 minutes, so you essentially have a free major mana potion every 2 minutes. That doesn't share a cooldown with potions, by the way. I mean, this is just absolutely amazing. So for utility, I have to give the mage an S rank again. Your quality of life as a mage is just really nice. Okay, so next up is PvP. Now, I'm not a big PvPer, like I'm not necessarily a guy that's very skilled at PvP. I'm currently just grinding out Alterac Valley because I want the rewards to raid basically. So I can't necessarily comment at a high level as to what PvP as a mage is like, but judging from classic WoW dueling tournaments, they do pretty good. Now, I believe in terms of dueling tournaments for classic WoW, the warlocks are the best, like they have performed the best in terms of results, but mages are not that far from behind. I believe in the CDL, the 2 grand finalists are warlocks and not mages, but that being said, in one-on-one PvP they are pretty good, as they have a lot of stuff that can slow down a fight and control things. It requires quite a lot of finesse playing PvP as a mage. Now, on the other side of things, we have Alterac Valley, which is the honor farming meta that we have right now, which is arguably more important. And in the AV meta, they have a very important role of doing AoE damage. Similar to PvE, they have a very high damage potential, and considering that in Alterac Valley there's a lot of people that you can deal damage to, it just seems like a natural conclusion that they will be good in AV. A lot of the time in AV, your role is to blink in front of the group of the opposing faction and just do Arcane Blast and Cone of Cold, and you basically will die pretty quickly, but you can ice block and do it again. It's very annoying to deal with this. You're basically like a bomber. You just blink in and explode, and by the time that the opposing faction has killed you, you've already done a lot of damage to them. And that's if you're being selfless, but if you really want to get as much honor as possible, you can basically survive indefinitely as a mage. If you just want to stay at the side and Frostbolt and just get your honorable kills in, you can absolutely do that. Frost Nova and the Cold Snap abilities, you can just survive for a very long time. And trying to kill a mage in Alterac Valley is often a really big headache, since for 10 seconds they're immune to any damage, and 20 seconds if they have Cold Snap. Not only that, but every time you attack them, you get slowed down. Fighting against mages in Alterac Valley is just really annoying, and that's coming from a mage. So yeah, in terms of PvP, I would have to give the mage an A rank. It's not like if you duel a mage that it's going to be impossible to kill them, but still a very strong class in PvP. Okay, so next up is raiding, which is really the meat and potatoes of World of Warcraft. A lot of people will solely play Classic WoW just to get into the raids and do PvE content. And mages in Classic WoW do not have to worry about not getting invites to raids. They have a very high damage potential, and it's absolutely feasible that you can get the #1 DPS rank in your guild if you put effort into it. However, in this current phase, there's going to be some classes that will probably do more DPS, but as time goes on, the mage gets more and more gear, and they scale very well. In fact, I believe in Naxxramas logs they have the best DPS, tied with Fury Warriors, so you do not have to worry about not being viable in a raid as a mage. However, that being said, the Frost spec is pretty basic. I don't think anybody would disagree that it's a little boring just pressing the Frostbolt spell over and over again, as this is the most optimal way to do DPS in a raid. At least for now. Now this changes with the fire spec that becomes viable at a certain point. Once you get to AQ 40 you can begin to spec fire, because then you don't have to worry about immunities of Molten Core and Blackwing Lair bosses. But for now, raiding as a mage in PvE is a little basic with the rotation. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. So in terms of raiding, I would have to give mage an A rank. The last aspect that we have to cover is gold farming. So this is something that a lot of people really hype up about the mage, and that is their ability to make gold from AoE farming. Now it's no secret that the mage is basically built for AoE damage. That's basically their niche. And they have some of the coolest and most effective gold farms in the game, by taking advantage of their Frost Nova, Flame Strike, and Blizzard spells, they can essentially kill massive packs of mobs in dungeons over and over again, just scooping up massive amounts of raw silver, cloth, and green, blue, and epic items. There are so many locations to do AoE farming as a mage. Some of these require quite a lot of skill, and some of them are pretty simple to learn. Not only that, but you also have a very good way to kite mobs with your Frostbolt. You can basically kill really strong elite mobs, assuming they don't have a ranged attack, by just running away and Frostbolting at the same time. Through this way you can get some really nice gold per hour by killing some elite mobs that you really shouldn't be able to do, but as a mage you can do it. Some of the best gold farming locations in Classic WoW are reliant on either being a mage or a hunter. And I've even heard people create a mage or hunter ult specifically so they can do some of these really nice gold farms. Basically just to supplement their main character. And yeah, that should give you an idea of how powerful the mage is in terms of gold farming. It's pretty much right up there with the hunter. It requires some finesse to gold farm as a mage, and it's kind of fun. In contrast to raiding, it's quite complicated in terms of managing your hitbox, cooldowns of spells, maintaining your range and distance. It's pretty fun to gold farm as a mage. In conclusion, I don't think you could say that the mage isn't a strong class in Classic WoW, but are they overpowered? Well, it depends on how you define it. In certain aspects of the game, yes, they are absolutely overpowered. In terms of leveling and gold farming, I mean, there's really not much of a match when it comes to the mage. They just have so many really nice spells, and their talent trees are also really nicely built. Like, there's very few mage talents that aren't good. Whereas a lot of other classes in Classic WoW have a bunch of talents that just don't really contribute to the job that they're trying to do, but they have to get them anyway just to progress down the tree. Mages do not have this issue. They were definitely given a lot of love by Blizzard. Well guys, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel. This is vaulty, signing out.